So, coming from CNBC, it does appear that the tech world is coming around to my viewpoint in regards to architecture and artificial intelligence. If you remember a year ago, 2 years ago, everybody thought AI was going to be up on the cloud, right? You're going to have the centralized AI providers, OpenAI, Anthropic, whoever else, and we would come groveling for our intelligence services. And one of the things I've argued for a long time is that just seems like a bad idea from an architecture standpoint. I look at my entire career, I look at the trajectory of architecture over my entire career, and the concept of going to like this massively centralized AI service system just hasn't made a lot of sense to me. So one of the things that I've argued for a long time is the concept of local artificial intelligence that you're able to control. And it is interesting to see that again, in the tech world, that seems to be where a lot of companies are going. We had Meta come out a couple of weeks ago, so they've gone back to open sourcing their models. At least for a couple of days now, right? So they debuted a number of models that can run on local systems. We see Google, right? Google has come up with LLMs that run directly on Android, runs within your Chrome web browser, and can run on computers with 16 gigs of RAM or more. And basically, we've seen more and more of these local models. And Alibaba is getting into the game, I guess, a little bit more. They have models out there. And Alibaba answers Meta's AI challenge with new laptop ready model. So they're coming out with a model that should be able to run on most people's laptops. Meta wants to lead an open source AI. China's Alibaba just reminded the US tech giant how competitive the market is. Yes, it's incredibly competitive to give crap away for free. Oh, you want to give crap away for free? Well, I can give crap away for free better than you can. I do have to say with this whole AI disaster, it is so weird. Like literally, we talk about competitive market. Like normally when you talk about a competitive market, you're talking about things like revenue and profit and printing money. Remember the days when the technology industry used to print money? Yeah, now we're just burning cash. I can burn cash faster than you. Fair enough. Just reminded the US tech giant how competitive the market is. On Monday, the Chinese tech giant launched an AI model designed to run on consumer hardware like laptops. It comes after Meta announced plans last week to open source its most powerful AI model and launch new ones designed to run on laptops in a bid to establish itself as the US alternative to Chinese technology over Frontier Labs, OpenAI, and Anthropic, which use a more proprietary approach. Launching its new model, Alibaba said Quinn 3.2-27B had, quote, excellent capabilities in handling code, professional work, research, and long horizon agent tasks. It added it matches the performance of another model that is 10 times its size. And this is the one thing I've been talking about for a long time too. When we talk about artificial intelligence and we talk about the AI stack, for some reason, and I have no idea why, whenever anybody talks about the AI stack, they seem to talk about it as if it's a mature stack. So when we talk about a mature stack, we talk about a stack that has been around for a long time and that we basically know how to build crap on it. So you think about this like with the web stack, right? So if you're going to build a web application in 2026, we all basically know what you're going to do. You're most likely going to use Linux as the operating system. You're most likely going to use Nginx as the web server component. You're going to use either a relational database backend or a NoSQL database backend. You're going to have some caching mechanisms or whatever else. You're probably going to use React as a front end framework, right? We know how to build web applications. You may come up with some innovative, new, amazing web application, but you're basically going to build it with the exact same tools everybody else is building to build anything, right? This isn't going back to like 2003 in the web world, right? We don't have to deal with SHTML anymore. We don't have to deal with ActiveX controllers anymore. We don't have to deal with the whole disaster of what web development was like 20 some odd years ago because the web stack has matured. And so more or less, everybody is going to build things the exact same way, right? And the thing is with that is the technologies and the resources that we're using now have all been optimized. They all have good return on investment, capabilities and all that kind of stuff. When it becomes interesting, when we start looking at the AI stack, is the reality is that it's an incredibly immature stack. When we talk about this, it means the hardware is immature. It also means the software is immature. It also means the ecosystem is immature. So basically, if we optimized to our software and our ecosystem to more appropriately use hardware, we might actually be able to pull out a lot of additional capabilities without having to invest more in hardware. One of the reasons why companies have to continually buy GPUs every year right now is because the software stack that they're using and the ecosystem that they're using, frankly, is incredibly inefficient. And to be clear, that's actually not a snarky comment. That's actually not a mean comment. It's just a fucking reality comment, right? A lot of the people building these products only started building these products over the last couple of years. They don't really know how they want this stuff to look at the end of the day, so they're doing things as they are. So what becomes interesting right now is we're starting to see more and more projects in the AI world that are able to extract more capabilities out of the exact same hardware simply because they design things more appropriately based off of lessons learned. Let's see here. And so that's where, again, it matches the performance of another model that is 10 times its size. And so again, we also talk about this like with China, right? Oh, China is behind because they can't get the same NVIDIA hardware that we have. Well, if they change the process and how they do things like training, they might actually be able to get better performing models that simply require a hell of a lot of resources to actually train, right? This is the stuff to kind of be thinking about here. Alibaba also said it released its weights of Qwen 3.8 Max, its most powerful model. Quote, the company which can offer the most capable open weights model will move ahead in this race. Neil Shah, co-founder at Counterpoint Research, told CNBC, quote, Alibaba aims to become this undisputed leader, outpacing Meta and eyeing the global market as a strong alternative to Silicon Valley frontier grade deployable models. And so this is going to be the interesting thing between the US and China in this whole AI war is we have told China, we have put on the table that we need to win the AI race. If we lose the AI race, we feel like we lose the future. Yes, we have informed China that. We have put that on big lighted up billboards so that China can see what we're worried about. And so it looks like Alibaba is coming down the pike. It's like, oh. So if you lose this particular race, you think you lose the world. Well, funny that. Let us help you lose that particular race. It's just not going to end very well for us. The release of Qwen 3.8 27B suggests Alibaba is expecting that more advanced models will run on edge rather than purely in data centers, which I would agree with. This is the other thing to be thinking about. One of the things I thought was really interesting with Huawei back in the day. So there used to be a conference, might still be around, called Interop. Fabulous conference. You never heard me be snarky about Interop. I genuinely actually miss Interop. Interop was a fucking great conference. Anyways, Interop was a vendor agnostic IT conference. So you go there, there's Cisco, there's Barracuda. Does Barracuda still exist? Anyways, I don't know. You go to this conference, there's about 12,000 people that used to go to this conference, and it was a great conference. And I remember, as I've talked about before, I do believe it was 2012. A lot of stuff happened in 2012 for me. Anyways, I do believe it was about 2012. And I remember watching Huawei. And one of my questions is, why the fuck should anybody give a crap about Huawei, right? I know it's 2026 and like Huawei is Huawei. But again, you go back to like 2012. Again, you go back 14 years ago, and great. You have another Chinese knockoff, also run network equipment provider. Who the hell cares, right? If you need to build a good network, you buy infrastructure. I don't know if all you've got is lint in your pocket. Maybe I guess you're forced to buy Huawei. I remember that back in the day, and so I sat there, and while Huawei was doing one of their presentations, I was like, "Hey, let me listen to the sales pitch for this Chinese garbage. I wasn't particularly anti-China. It's not like I was anti the Chinese or whatever else, but you're like, oh, this is just some piece of shit also ran, right? When I get done watching this thing from Huawei, I'll go and learn about real technology from Cisco. And what I thought was curious is so I sat down, I was watching their little presentation, and one of the things they brought up in their presentation is that most of the world's networking equipment wasn't being housed in clean environments. So if you come to the US, you come to most of the Western world, right? When you go into your server room, or especially into a data center, right, that is a clean environment. One, the air is clean, right? In most of the United States, clean enough. It's clean enough, let's just say. We've got clean air. You have the air conditioning system in your server room or in your data center. You may have dehumidifiers and the whole nine yards. So you take this really expensive Cisco equipment, you slot it into this clean environment. And one of the things about Cisco equipment is it's built to circulate air. So when you have equipment that's in a rack, all the equipment circulates air from front to back. And one of the problems that you run into is you plug one of these things into a normal office environment, is it sounds like a jet engine taking off, right? When we talk about these pieces of equipment being vacuum cleaners, it doesn't do them justice. You turn on like a 1U or 2U server, or you turn on some of this networking equipment, and it's like, whoa, all right, it's painful. Anyways, here's the thing: vacuum cleaner. Well, when you're in a clean environment and you have a system that is basically a vacuum cleaner, it doesn't really matter, right? It pulls air in, cools everything off. The issue that you run into, though, is when you're deploying equipment into India, right? When you're deploying equipment into many countries in Africa or into places in South America, their server rooms or where they have their equipment might not be as clean as we're used to here in the US, right? And with Cisco, especially in 2012, basically Cisco's sales pitch was, well, if you don't have a clean environment, I guess you can't use our equipment, right? So what's really curious with Huawei is when Huawei did their little sales pitch at Interop, they showed their completely sealed networking equipment. So routers and switches and all of that kind of stuff. And basically it was entirely sealed up, had massive heat sinks on the external components of the networking equipment. And the idea was you could then put this into environments that weren't necessarily, cooled down to 68 degrees, that definitely were not clean and that type of deal. And the equipment would keep running. And the curious thing is at that point in time, it's like, oh, that's nice. Oh, that's nice. Huawei found a little niche. Isn't that adorable? Huawei found a teeny tiny little niche that Cisco isn't going for. Good for the Chinese company. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Just because you ignore people doesn't mean that they don't actually exist. And the reality is the majority of the Earth's population live in environments where the server rooms and the data centers aren't necessarily going to be the cleanest and aren't necessarily going to be cooled to the appropriate level or whatever else. And so Huawei was able to take a tremendous amount of market share by literally simply selling a product that their customers were able to use. Right? They were able to sell a product that an IT administrator, a systems administrator in Calcutta or in Nairobi or whatever could look at and say, oh, that is probably going to actually survive in my environment. So it's kind of interesting. Now, again, you have Alibaba talking about pushing these models to the edge. Think about it. There are a lot of folks out there in the world that either they can't afford to use the online models for whatever reason, or may not be able to. Again, we talk about AI sovereignty and that type of deal. So with Alibaba coming out and creating this product that you can use in your environment, that is a hell of a sales pitch, and I think it might be the route to make Alibaba, one of the premier AI vendors, the way that Huawei was able to many years ago. Quote: Alibaba has made Quinn the most credible non-U.S. model family to build hardware relationships around in China and in the open weight developer community globally. Patience told CNBC. So yeah, there we go. Alibaba is coming out swinging. They have their open weights models. They're competing with Meta. Meta comes out. Mark Zuckerberg comes out and says, we want to be the premier open weight model. And China Man says, that's great. Good for you, Yankee. Good for you. It's good to have hopes and dreams. It gives us something to crush. Anyways. Oh, Lordy. What do you think about this? What do you think about Alibaba, I don't know, competing with Meta's AI model? Do you think that they're even competing? Do you think it is kind of interesting, though? More and more companies are pushing the idea of having AI at the edge, not necessarily having it in some centralized, API provider or something like that. How do you think the U.S. is doing vis-a-vis China in the AI war? Put your thoughts down below. If you like these episodes, do remember they're on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. Link is down below. If you want to follow me on LinkedIn, there's a link down there too. With that, see y'all later.